You know that feeling when you use an app or a website and it just clicks. Everything feels right, it's exactly where you expect it to be. Well, I can tell you that is absolutely not an accident. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden visual language that makes it all work.
I mean, that's really the core of it, isn't it? It's the difference between a product that feels like it's reading your mind and one that just feels like a frustrating, messy puzzle. The secret ingredient that makes all the difference? A visual design system.
Think of it like a shared playbook for the entire team designers, developers, everyone. So instead of having endless debates about the exact right shade of blue, everyone just agrees. We use brand primary. It's this shared language that creates that seamless experience we all love. So are you ready to get fluent? Here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the why behind it all. Then we'll dive deep into the 4 essential building blocks of any solid design system. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together to create something that's, well, truly unified.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about that why. See, a good design system isn't just a strict rulebook. No, it's more like a compass. It's built on a foundation of core principles that point everyone on the team in the exact same direction.
And these principles, you could say they're the very soul of the system. They act as a North Star for every single design choice. So when a designer gets stuck, they don't have to just guess. They can just ask themselves a simple question. Does this actually align with our principles? Let's make this real. Take a principle like this one. Be accessible and inclusive. Now, that's not just some fluffy, feel-good phrase on a poster. It's a real, practical tool. It forces you to ask the hard questions, like, hey, can someone who's colorblind actually tell these 2 buttons apart? The principle gives you a clear yes or no. All right, let's dig into our first building block, color. Think of color as the silent narrator of your product. It sets the mood, it guides your eye, and it tells a story, all without saying a single word. You know, a good color system is kind of like a well-stocked pantry. You've got your primary colors, those are your staples, the things that define your brand's identity. Then you have your secondary colors, which are like the spices that add a little flavor and variety. And of course, you have your semantic colors, the universal ones, like green for success and red for, oops, error. But here's the deal, and this is so important. Color isn't just about what looks good. It's about what works for everyone. That's where something called the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, comes into play. These are basically standards that ensure things like color contrast are strong enough for people with visual impairments to read everything clearly. It's absolutely non-negotiable. Okay, so if color is the mood, then typography, well, typography is the voice. It's what gives your product a distinct personality. Is it a friendly, approachable chatbot? Or maybe a serious, authoritative news source? The type tells you so much. So how do you create that perfect typographic harmony? You don't just pick font sizes out of a hat, right? No, you use a type scale. It's a really simple mathematical approach that creates a set of font sizes that are all beautifully proportional to one another. It's a lot like the notes in a musical scale, actually. And this is where things get really smart. The best systems don't just think about font sizes, they think about function. So you have a specific style for page titles, another for button text, and another for the fine print. This approach makes it incredibly easy for anyone to grab the right style for the right job every single time. And it's all powered by something we'll talk more about in a bit called design tokens. Next up, iconography. These little guys are basically the universal language of the digital world. A really well-designed icon can communicate a pretty complex idea in a split second, and it doesn't matter what language you speak. So what's the secret to a great icon system? I'll give it to you in one word: consistency. Every single icon needs to feel like it belongs to the same family, like it shares the same visual DNA. It's that consistency that makes the whole system feel cohesive and just easy to understand. But a great icon system isn't just about how the icons look. It's also about how easy they are to find and use. Think about the people who have to build with these things. By adding multiple search terms like eye, visible, and show for the same icon, you make life so much easier for the designers and developers who need to find the perfect icon for the job. All right, our final building block is the invisible one. It's the one you might not actively notice, but you would definitely feel it if it were gone. I'm talking about spacing and grids, the white space, the breathing room that creates order and calm.
A super popular way to handle this is with what's known as the 8-point grid system. Now, what's so magical about the number 8? Well, it's easily divisible by 2 and 4, which makes it incredibly flexible for scaling things up or down. Plus, it just so happens to align really well with most screen resolutions, so your designs always look sharp. Honestly, once you start using a system like this, you'll wonder how you ever worked without it. It just takes all the guesswork out of spacing and alignment. What you're left with is a design that feels balanced, rhythmic, and perfectly harmonious.
Okay, so we've got our 4 building blocks: color, typography, icons, and spacing. Now for the grand finale. How do we tie it all together to create something truly powerful? A single source of truth for an entire company. Remember those design tokens I mentioned? Well, this is where they become the absolute heroes of the story. Think of them as tiny pieces of code that store your design decisions, like a hex code for a color or a font size. Instead of hard coding those values everywhere, you just use the token. So if you need to update a color, you change it in one place, the token, and boom, it updates automatically across every single product. It's a game changer. So there you have it. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, right? Color brings the emotion, typography gives it a voice, icons provide clarity, and spacing builds that crucial rhythm. Altogether, they create this incredible visual foundation that unites a product experience. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. What language is your product speaking? Is it communicating with a clear, confident voice? Or is it kind of mumbling and all over the place? The power to define that language is in your hands. Thanks so much for joining me.